Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Alter Your Health podcast. Live, it's Thursday, it's 1 p.m. Mountain Time. We're in the Plantbased and Stress-Free Facebook group coming at you live. And this podcast is your source of information and inspiration to promote the holistic transformation of your health and the health of our planet. And my name is Dr. Benjamin Alter. I'm the host.
My name is Dr. Susanna Alter. I'm the co-host. And we're both naturopathic doctors who support individuals in reversing disease and reclaiming optimal health through whole food plant-based nutrition and mind-body medicine.
And we are smack dab. I don't smack any dads. Smack dab in the middle of a whole food plant-based challenge, and it's going phenomenally. It is happening in our plant-based and stress-free Facebook group. And if you're just tuning in and you are not in the group yet and you want to get in the group, it's an open invitation to anyone and everyone. Come on in, learn how to optimize your health, heal your metabolism, lose weight, feel great, take your health to the next level. But if you're tuning into this episode, you probably maybe aren't so concerned with losing weight. Maybe you want to gain weight, because that's the topic of our conversation today on the podcast. Not losing weight, but gaining weight. Because, if you believe it, there's a lot of us out there that might have issues or struggle with maintaining optimal weight, especially when eating a whole food plant-based diet that tends to be lower in calorie, higher in nutrient density, so we can fall into kind of a unintended weight loss despite our best efforts at nourishing ourselves. So we're going to talk all about really a healthy approach to maintaining and gaining weight. Maybe this is really applicable to those of you who are athletes, are expending a lot of calories, burning a lot of calories, running, cycling, climbing, jumping, swimming, whatever it might be. And also, who else might this apply to?
Anyone who's experiencing kind of mysterious struggles with gaining weight. I know of a handful of patients who have come out and said, hey, I would like to gain some healthy muscle, right, and I'm finding it's really hard. So we're going to also address that. And we wanted to talk about this because yes, we are right in the middle of our whole food plant-based challenge. And this rendition of the challenge is really focused on optimizing weight. And the focus tends to be more about losing weight in that challenge. So we wanted to, while we're talking so much about weight in our whole food plant-based group, talk to everyone, not just the people who need to lose weight, but the people who struggle just as hard to keep it on.
And I think, even if your weight is optimal, or even if you want to lose weight, like, this information I think is relevant and important, because we're always going to be maybe having conversations with people who bring up like, oh, like that person who just, I can't keep weight on, they're just the skinny person. And what comes to mind, a few months back, we were at the grocery store, and Suzanne and I were like in the middle of a cleanse, and we had so many fresh fruits and vegetables at the checkout line in the grocery aisle. And this young, 16-year-old high school kid who was bagging our groceries, or maybe he was running the register, he was like, oh man, you guys eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. and he said, well, I'm lucky. I don't have any problem with, gaining weight. I eat pizza and junk food all day, and look at me, I'm super skinny. So we maybe want to point it out that weight, just because you're skinny, or just because you're a lower weight than normal, or that doesn't mean that it's healthy or optimal. And another thing that comes to mind, Dr. Joel Fuhrman points out in some of his talks that, out of all of the people who are quote unquote a normal healthy weight by estimation of a BMI, which is not perfect, of course, But out of all the people who are a normal, quote unquote, healthy weight, a lot of those people are a healthy weight due to a disease in their body, due to drinking excessive amounts of alcohol or caffeine that depletes minerals and nutrients and leads to kind of weight loss in that way, or due to cancer. Cancer is obviously a big cause of unintentional weight loss and low body weight. And that just because or doing, smoking cigarettes.
Smoking's a big one.
Or doing drugs. Like, a lot of people are low weight, and that doesn't equate to health. So I know that you all listening, tuning in, know that, but we wanted to point that out for sure.
Definitely. And, a big focus of this week when we're talking about optimizing weight is that we're not just talking about a whole food plant-based diet as being an effective way to lose weight. It's an effective way to gain weight healthfully and to maintain weight. And the way that I see it is that, and it's not just the way I see it, it's just how it is.
The way it is.
Is that every body has a weight that it just loves being at. It's that body's healthy weight point. And so if you're over it, when you eat a whole food plant-based diet, it'll help get you to that ideal weight. If you're underweight and you eat a whole food plant-based diet in the correct way that we're going to talk about today, then it's going to help you actually gain weight up to that place where your weight is stable and happy and you don't feel like you have to fight in order to keep the weight on.
Totally. There's a lot of people, first of all, just to put it out there, you guys know that a whole food plant-based diet is fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts and seeds, avocados, etc., and herbs and spices. But a lot of people think, oh, well, in order to gain weight, I need to eat more nuts and seeds, maybe add some oil into my food, peanut butter, almond butter, coconut milk, all of these things that tend to be much more calorie dense, but not as nutrient dense. And those kind of foods are totally okay in the diet. There's no doubt about it. They're whole foods, right? Not the oil, of course. But the fact of the matter is optimal health, optimal metabolism, optimal fitness, optimal muscle gain, optimal physique, whatever your goals are, can absolutely 100% be obtained through eating a healthy, nutrient-dense, whole food plant-based diet. We don't need to gorge ourselves with peanut butter sandwiches and almond butter smoothies and chocolate chip cookies or anything like that in order to gain weight. We don't need to eat more of these. Almond butter is not junk food, but we don't need to eat any of the real calorie dense foods in order to gain weight.
Right.
Yeah.
That was actually such a pet peeve of mine. I have had multiple years of being underweight in my past. And when someone would say a comment like, oh my gosh, you just need to eat some ice cream, just go to the store and buy a whole carton of ice cream. Yeah. That'll solve all of your issues.
Right. Yeah.
But that is completely the way not to solve the solution or to gain weight healthfully.
Right. Yeah. You might put on a few ounces, maybe put on a pound. I don't know. But if our goal is health, and if you're tuning into this podcast, hopefully your goal is health and not just beauty or superficial, optimal weight numbers. Hopefully there's an underlying intention of optimal health. Then obviously the pint of ice cream to gain weight is not the healthy way to do it. So the healthy way to do it is, of course, on a whole food plant-based diet. And we both have personal experience with gaining and maintaining weight despite being pretty, I don't know, just to go back a little bit, when I was first vegan, I was not really, well, I guess I was kind of a whole food plant-based vegan, but for a few years, I was slowly depleting myself due to living in a caloric deficit. I really just simply didn't know. I didn't track my calories. No one told me that I needed to eat more of this or less of this. but I was eating mainly fruits and vegetables, a lot of raw foods, and I simply wasn't eating a lot. I wasn't eating enough for my active lifestyle. And I didn't feel hungry. I didn't feel like I was starving myself. I didn't have an eating disorder. I just slowly kind of depleted. So I honestly wasn't really, I mean, maybe some people would disagree, but I didn't feel like I was too skinny. I was about a similar weight as to what I am now, maybe a few pounds lighter, but um, in any case, I was not feeling great. I was feeling lethargic, fatigued, and it was really kind of impacting my quality of life. So I learned how to nourish myself with nutrient dense foods and enough of them without sacrificing health. And now, fast forward however many years, I now would consider myself an endurance athlete of sorts. Like I run 40 or 50 miles a week. I burn a lot of calories. I eat a lot of food. And all of the food that goes in my mouth is whole food plant based. I don't opt for cans of coconut milk or excessive almond butter sandwiches, but we do like almond butter banana sandwiches when we're on the ski mountain just because it's easy and yeah. But in any case, how do I maintain my energy, my weight, my health? The answer is real whole plant foods, specifically foods that are high in starch, which we talked about last night in our whole food plant-based challenge in the context of weight loss. But the same foods are applicable in the context of weight gain because it all has to do, once again, with optimizing gut health, optimizing the microbiome, optimizing the metabolism. When we do that, we just self-regulate, like you spoke to, Susanna.
Exactly. And for those out there who want to gain muscle, it's actually not the excessive amounts of protein you need to gain muscle. It's, again, carbohydrates. So really the three things you need to really gain muscle on a whole, I mean, anytime, are carbohydrates, minerals, which should naturally be present in the other vegetables that you're eating on a whole food plant-based diet, fruits and vegetables, and movement. So you got to move your muscles in order to gain muscle, of course.
Can't just sit there and pound your protein shakes and expect to get swole. You gotta move your muscles.
Were you gonna flex your arm?
I was gonna point to this bad boy here.
He's not even pushing it up.
No.
Show it the other way.
Well, I'm a little restricted with this shirt. But in any case,
would you say you have more muscle now compared
I don't
to
know.
when you weren't?
I'm not really good at self-analyzing, but you've got a good understanding of me and my body. What do you think?
Yeah. I have observed Ben certainly gain muscle over the last 2 years since you've increased starch in your diet.
I definitely feel strong. I never really felt, I guess I did feel weak when I was in that depleted state. But I was going to point to my muscle, and obviously we know that muscles are everywhere in the body. It's not just in our biceps, but in that muscle, yeah, there's a lot of protein. There's protein everywhere. Protein makes up our flesh and blood and like who we are, our structure. But our muscles are filled with glycogen. Glycogen is really what makes muscles big. It's not just protein in there. And do you know what glycogen is out there, listeners? Little pop quiz. Glycogen, maybe you've heard about it. Glycogen is a polymer or chain of glucose molecules. And glucose, we know, is the basic building block of carbohydrates. It's the preferred fuel source for every single cell in the body. And the muscles get filled up with glycogen, which we use to burn fuel to power our machine of a body. So glycogen is literally what makes muscles big, and glycogen is literally kind of another word for starch. It's how starch, quote unquote, is stored in the human body. So
right. So yeah, important to eat starch, But also, the other thing we really need to emphasize is you need to eat enough calories in order to gain weight, of course, because if you are in a caloric deficit, then your body's going to start to break down its own tissues to make energy.
It's common sense, right? But it's not so common sense, because when we look at a whole food plant-based diet, if this is a new way of eating for you, or maybe it's not even a new way and you just haven't brought this level of attention or awareness to it, we like to point out that I've been using the potato example and the chicken breast. A chicken breast is about yay big if you're looking at the screen, and then just consider a potato. You can imagine, you don't have to be looking, but just consider like a normal sized potato. It's about the same size as a steak or a chicken breast. I don't know how many ounces, but it's like kind of the same size. But I haven't done the caloric breakdown comparison, but that I would guess that the chicken breast, depending on how, quote unquote, lean it is, how much protein it is, how much fat it is, it's about 4 times as calorically dense, 3 to 4 times as calorically dense as the potato. And when we get a plate at a restaurant, when we're served a plate at a restaurant, and you get the vegan option, right, or the plant-based option, you're obviously not going to have a big chunk of chicken breast or lamb chop or bacon cheeseburger or whatever it is. You might have, if you're lucky, a good heaping portion of potatoes or beans or lentils or rice or something like that, some calorically dense food. But maybe you just have like roasted carrots or broccolini or something like that. And yeah, maybe there's olive oil in there, but you get the idea. You're us plant-based eaters, or if you want to call it vegan, it's fine. We are at a disadvantage calorically, especially when we go out to eat, and also kind of socially when we're at a dinner party and we get the beans and the rice and the veggies, and we pass on the shredded chicken for the taco. We need to factor that in, knowing that these animal products are really calorically dense. So we need to eat way more quantity. That's why we say if we're intending to lose weight, we need to eat more to lose weight, to weigh less. But if we want to gain weight, then we need to eat more, even more. Anyways,
yeah. And I realized, I just want to clarify, because we've been talking to our group who's doing the challenge, and they're all on board with what we mean by carbs. But for people listening to the podcast, I just need to remind you all that when we're talking about carbs, we're talking about whole plant food carbs. So things like potatoes, whole grains, legumes. We're not talking about going out and eating a big bowl of, pasta.
Refined or processed, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just had to clarify that.
Which, if you do go out and get your pasta with, fresh marinara sauce, it's not the end of the world. We want to make sure it's organic and stuff, but yeah.
Right, but it shouldn't be staple, go-to every night kind of meal. That can lead to nutritional deficiencies, which can also impair weight gain. Yeah. So
the other thing we haven't talked on, and I know you're getting there, is gut health, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I see a lot, what is really common when people just can't gain weight, is that there is an underlying digestive issue. Because if you have inflammation in your intestines, you're simply just not going to be absorbing all of the nutrients you need, and then it's just going to move right through you into the toilet. So there could be an issue with not enough hydrochloric acid in the stomach, not enough secretion of pancreatic enzymes or bile from the liver. There could be an issue with some kind of bacterial dysbiosis in the intestines. And many times those all kind of come together. Totally. So for me, in my experience of being underweight in the past, it was completely, aside from my past history of eating disorders, it was also due to digestive health, and many times those two can come hand in hand too, because eating disorders can lead to digestive issues. But when it came down to actually, there are people out there who are like actively trying to gain weight and still can't because of these underlying digestive issues. And so for me, when I finally got to my body's stable, happy, healthy weight of feeling strong and resilient and energetic, it was because I healed the underlying gut issues. I was drinking celery juice and also eating a whole food plant-based diet, which will help reverse a lot of these digestive issues, simply because we're not reintroducing again and again pathogenic bacteria from animal products. Also the diet itself is so clean. We're reducing a significant amount of inflammatory foods that could cause exacerbations of digestive issues.
And then it's a high fiber diet, which, if you think about fiber, it feeds the microbiome. And when we have a healthy and diverse microbiome, that microbiome creates this healthy biofilm that creates a really resilient lining of your gut. So you're able to just get all of the nutrients that are in your food because, like you're kind of pointing out, a lot of people put food in their mouth and then they don't really absorb, digest, assimilate all of the nutrients and fuel that they're getting in their mouth. It kind of just goes right through them, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then, on that note, like some people might also have a parasite or something like that. Like that's a big cause of weight loss, right? That needs to be kind of in the on mind, especially if you've traveled or gone camping or backpacking or anything like that.
Definitely. Yeah, but I'd say, certainly optimizing hydrochloric acid in the stomach can really, really help people start to absorb and gain that weight. I think that would be kind of a starting point for a lot of people.
Totally. And we can't really have this gut health digestion conversation without talking about stress, which is the number one cause of disrupted digestion. And if you just think about the stress epidemic in our world today, people's experience of stress, it really makes sense that there is also a gut health epidemic. And then you consider all of the environment, not to put any more stress out there, but if you just mindfully, peacefully consider all of the other environmental factors that are going into that digestive into your body that you're having to deal with, it's just further physiologically stressing the system, a lot to deal with. We've covered quite a bit when it comes to weight gain and optimizing weight, and really, I was thinking that this conversation was most applicable to maybe the athletes out there who are just burning a lot of calories and want to maintain their physical performance. Because I know a lot of athletes think, oh, I've got to supplement with a protein powder in my smoothie. I've got to do this supplement or that supplement, or just like we said, eat a bunch of avocados or oil or, these high calorie foods. And the fact of the matter is, it's not true. And focusing on the starch, focusing on the carbohydrates from whole plant foods provides the optimal fuel source for your body to do what it does. So it's very applicable to all you athletes out there. But there's a lot of people who just have really, disturbed digestive systems that need some nutrients and healing as well. And we know how to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess kind of in summary, if as long as we're ruling out all of the big, bad, and scary causes of unexplained weight loss, things like cancer and,
parasites.
Hyperthyroidism can lead to weight loss.
Yeah.
But if you are a relatively healthy person that is still just trying to gain some healthy weight, then it comes down to optimizing digestive health, eating enough, and I cannot emphasize that enough, that it's so important to eat enough. And if you're unsure whether you're eating enough, it would be great to call us up.
Yeah.
A free 15-minute consultation.
We'll just say yes or no. Am I eating enough? We'll just say yep or nope.
But we can also help you to really optimize your nutrition so that your performance and energy and everything is also optimized. But yes, so optimize digestion, make sure you're eating enough, focus on those good, clean, whole forms of carbohydrate-rich foods, and just eat that nutrient-dense diet.
Long story short, you don't have to sacrifice nutritional quality just to gain weight. We know we can gain weight on junk food, but you don't have to. Obviously, you don't have to do that. So any other things that I think we did pretty good. We stayed 25 minutes. We're great. Like, this is the
Ben always gives himself a pat on the back when we pat on the back.
I'm sure we can ramble for another 5 minutes, but we're not going to. We're going to send you off into the rest of your day and encourage you to nourish yourself with whole, healing plant foods. Focus on the whole, intact, natural foods that the earth provides. And if you want to join a community of like-minded individuals who are on a similar nutritional, holistic health path, come on into the Plant-Based and Stress-Free Facebook group. The link to find us is facebook.com/groups/alterhealth. Yeah. That's what it is. And yeah, like you said, Susanna, the invitation also stands for anyone out there who wants to give us a call and learn more about how we might be able to support you in achieving your health goals. You can find us at www.alter.health and schedule your complimentary 15-minute visit. And we look forward to being in touch, and we'll catch you guys on the next Alter Your Health podcast.
Yes, bye for now.